Witness the price of discord.
Their fury is relentless.
The galaxy believed humans were peaceful, not weak, not stupid, just soft. When Earth joined the Galactic Council, they sent one man to represent them. Ambassador Daniel Hayes. He was calm. He smiled often. He spoke about trade, science, and peace. Many alien leaders thought he was harmless. The warrior species of the Carthan Dominion especially did not respect him. They respected power, weapons, fear, and humans did not look frightening. The meeting took place on a neutral space station. Leaders from many worlds sat in a large circular chamber. Lights glowed softly above them. Guards stood along the walls. The Carthan officer stood tall, armored, and proud. His voice was loud. "You lie?" he accused the human ambassador. Hayes did not raise his voice. He did not show fear. "That is not true," he replied calmly. The room grew silent. The Carthan officer stepped forward. He believed humans were cowards. He believed fear ruled them. And he wanted to prove it. In one sudden motion, he drew his plasma blade. Gasps filled the chamber before anyone could react. He struck. The blade cut clean through the air. Ambassador Hayes fell. Silence. No screaming. No chaos. The human security team rushed forward. But they did not attack. They did not shout. One guard knelt beside the fallen diplomat. He gently closed Hayes' eyes. Another pressed a small device on his wrist and whispered 3 quiet words. Protocol Black confirmed. The message traveled to Earth in seconds. On Earth, deep inside command centers, alarms did not ring loudly. Instead, lights turned from blue to red. Satellites shifted. Fleets powered on. No speeches were made. No threats were spoken. Just silence. Heavy. Controlled. And somewhere in that silence, human rage began to rise. The Carthan Dominion believed the matter was finished. They released a cold public message. They called it a misunderstanding. They said the officer acted with honor. They refused to apologize. In their culture, strength was everything. If someone could not defend himself, he was weak. To them, the human diplomat had simply failed. They expected Earth to complain loudly, to argue, to threaten trade sanctions. They did not expect silence. On Earth, there were no riots, no angry speeches, no wild threats of revenge. The president stood before the world and spoke only one sentence. "We acknowledge the loss." That was all. But behind that quiet statement, something powerful was happening. Ambassador Daniel Hayes was not just a government official. He was a father to 2 children, a husband to a woman who had waded through long space missions, a friend to soldiers who once served beside him, a symbol of trust between Earth and the stars. Humans bond deeply. They build families. They build friendships. They build loyalty that runs deep in their hearts. When one human is killed without reason, it is not seen as one life lost. It feels like a wound shared by millions. In military command centers, leaders did not shout in anger. They studied. They mapped Carthan space routes. They tracked supply lines. They analyzed fleet patterns. Every move was careful. Every decision was calm. The grief was real. Families cried. Flags lowered. Children asked hard questions. But human rage is not always loud. Sometimes it is quiet. Sometimes it is focused. Weeks passed. The Carthan began to relax. They believed Earth had accepted the loss. Then, without warning, a Carthan weapons depot exploded in deep space. No warning signal. No detected ships. No survivors. Across the galaxy, leaders looked toward Earth. Still, Earth said nothing. But everyone could feel it now. This was not chaos. This was not emotion out of control. This was something else. Human bonds had turned grief into purpose, and the response had only just begun. The first explosion was not the last. Within days, another Carthan military site went dark. Then another. Fuel stations burned in silent space. Weapon factories lost power and never came back online. Warships drifted helplessly. After their systems suddenly failed. No human fleet was seen. No warnings were sent. The attacks were clean, precise, surgical. Most important of all, no civilians were harmed. Galaxy began to whisper, "This is war." But Earth answered. Every message with the same calm reply. "This is balance." The Carthan commanders grew angry. They sent patrol ships. They increased security. They searched for hidden human fleets. They found nothing, because humans were not fighting with noise. They were fighting with planning. Years of study. Years of shared data through peaceful diplomacy. Years of quiet observation. The Carthan had thought humans were soft during those meetings. They did not realize humans were. Learning. Every strike matched a military asset connected. To the officer who killed Ambassador Hayes, every loss was equal. Measured. Deliberate. The message became clear. You took a life without reason. We are removing your power to do it again. Fear slowly replaced Carthan pride. For the first time, they understood something new. Human rage was not wild screaming. It was not blind destruction. It was grief, sharpened into a weapon. On Earth, people watched the reports quietly. There were no celebrations. No cheering crowds. Ambassador Hayes. Family sat together in silence. They did not smile. They did not clap. They simply held each other, because this was not about revenge. It was about protection. The Carthan fleet, once proud and powerful, began to weaken. Shipyards slowed. Supplies ran low. Command chains broke apart. And still, Earth made no threats. That was the most terrifying part. The galaxy finally understood. Humans did not lose control when angry. They became focused, and focused humans were unstoppable. Months passed. The powerful Carthan Dominion was no longer powerful. Their fleets were damaged. Their weapons factories were silent. Their commanders were afraid to move ships without fear of another precise strike. They had expected a loud war. Instead, they faced something far worse. A calm enemy. Finally, the Carthan leaders sent a message to Earth, not a threat, a request. They asked for negotiations. The Galactic Council gathered once again in the same chamber where Ambassador Hayes had fallen. The memory of that day still hung heavy in the air. This time, the Carthan did not stand proudly. They stood quietly. Earth sent representatives. Not soldiers. Not warships. Just officials in simple suits. The human leader spoke calmly. "We do not seek conquest," she said. "We seek accountability." There was no anger in her voice. That frightened the room more than shouting would have. The Carthan officer who killed Ambassador Hayes was brought forward. For the first time, he looked uncertain. He had believed humans were weak. He had believed fear ruled them. Now he understood something different. Humans are patient. The officer was surrendered to stand trial under galactic law. Earth accepted. And just like that, the attacks stopped. No victory speech. No celebration. Only silence. Years later, alien cadets study this event in military academies. They watch the recording of the assassination. They watch the quiet human reaction. They watch a superpower slowly lose its strength without understanding how. Their instructors teach one clear lesson. Humans love deeply. And when you harm one of them without reason, you face all of them. The galaxy no longer sees human kindness as weakness. They see it for what it truly is, a choice. Because when humans choose peace, they build. But when they are forced into rage, they do not lose control. They focus. And the entire galaxy remembers the day they discovered that truth.